Okay, so today's lesson, I want to go over the discussion forum that we did on pennies. Let me just get, whoops, what happened there?
About smoking. Your pencil's over on the whiteboard.
Your pen's on the
Pen's on the whiteboard.
Alright, and here we go, we're getting back to our pennies. So I want to go over the discussion forum that we did on pennies. We have 106 replies. Just wanted to point out a couple things, a couple of replies here, and see if we can't learn from them. Could you stop, please? So the purpose of this penny discussion is to practice using students' names and complimenting them on their entry. So I'm just going to go into a couple of them. And the question here posed was, the penny is about to be phased out. Do you think we should keep the penny or get rid of it, and why? So as we scroll down and we look at some re-ones, first responses. I see here, Jade's got one. I think, no, they should keep it because it costs a penny and a half to make 1 penny, just the cost of making it. So that's a really good point. Victor responds, Jaden, I agree. So Victor's done what he's supposed to do. He's called Jaden by name, and he agrees with him. That's a compliment when you agree. With what you're saying, because it costs more than it's worth. That's the type of thing you want to do, and it encourages someone to say, hey, I'm really good. Someone else agrees with me. Now, as we slide down here, we look at the next entry to Jaden's, and it says, good idea. Now, there's a compliment in there, but when it doesn't have the name attached, it doesn't seem to have as much power. So you really do need to put that name in there. Let's just scroll down a little bit further. What has happened here? Okay. Here's an entry where it says, I don't agree with you, Jaden. So he's used his name, but he hasn't started with the compliment. He could perhaps have said, oh, you have an idea there, Jaden, or a good idea there, Jaden, but I don't agree with you. I think. And then he's complimented him, he's said his name, and he's also encouraged more discussion. And that's really what we want, is more discussion. And we'll scroll down a little bit more here.
There's one by Victor.
So we have an entry here that says, I agree with you, Kyle. So he said his name, he's complimented him, but the discussion is stopped right there. There's no response coming back. They could say thank you, and then the next person could respond and say, you're welcome. But there's no point for that discussion. Okay, so let's scroll down a little bit further. My finger keeps sliding off. Now you guys have seen all of these because you've read them. Oh man, we're way down there, eh? Here's something I wanted to point out as well. Reese hasn't been here, so Reese doesn't know the full way of doing a discussion forum. But Reese used an icon. He used the double dots in the bracket to make a smiley face. Well, in discussion forums, that's not something that you should be doing. You shouldn't be using icons. You should use proper words, proper sentences. So it's not like texting to a friend where you go, are you coming? And you go, are you? Just with the letter R and a letter U. No, we don't do that in discussion forums. Okay, we stay with full words. Okay, we're getting down there. Okay, here's an entry where they used all capitals, and then right here, we used all capitals. Okay, now that's, when you use all capitals, that's like yelling at somebody. That's like saying, awesome idea, Christian!
Yeah.
Okay, in discussion forums, we don't want anything really, really powerful, because when someone comes across with great hard ideas, inflexible. That's what it sounds like. So what you want is you want to make sure that you never capitalize in a discussion forum. It shuts down discussion. The same thing with multiple exclamation marks. You put a bunch of them on there, it's like I'm making a statement and I'm not budging. Okay, so stay away from those. It's blanketly just a good ideas. Don't do them. Not once. Not ever. So for this lesson, what I would like you to do on your next entry is I would like you to reread your entry so that the message you're given in your entry is clear. So make sure you reread it. Make sure you do some grade 1 editing with capitals and periods. Make sure you read it over for it to make sense. The next thing I want you to do is to make sure you do something to build discussion. So you have to say some words like, what do you think? Or if you're responding to them and you're saying, well, I don't agree with you, and you give your ideas, you can say, what do you think? If you ask a question, then you're encouraging discussion. So we are going to do another entry, and in this we're going to look at teacher's job action, and I want you to state your opinion about the teacher's job action. So when you go into the lab, go to number 18, go to job action, and use some of your knowledge to make a good re-1, proofread it, make sure it makes sense, and then you're going to do one re-2. You should have the name, you should have a compliment, you should say what you're trying to say,